Patriots.com. Tommy Curran, what's up?
Large steak and cheese, extra steak, extra cheese, onions fried in, and some mayonnaise, please.
Wow, so that's the Tommy Curran order?
That's nice.
That's a walking nap. I'll be checking in around 4:30 after that.
Yep. Oh, nice. Yep. I'll tell you, we get texts every week about the Thanksgiving sandwich there, which feels like a walking nap to me, but that sounds wonderful. Yeah. No, yeah. Oh, it's right.
Tom's going to be showing up in studio now for these D'Angelo Tuesdays.
Well, anything other than having to talk about this Patriots team, the way they're going. Gerard Mayo calls them soft. Bill Belichick is now taking Gerard Mayo to task for it. I wonder, is he at risk of losing the locker room? Has he already lost the locker room? Like, how's that going over?
I would think he's at a level of risk. Certainly. Mayo, I'm talking about, you had a bad enough performance on the field to lose 32-16. It wasn't that close. There was a fourth down play that Jacksonville got turned away on. There was another long drive that ended in a field goal. They could have put up 40 on you. They didn't. You have enough to deal with without marching to the podium and unsolicited calling the team soft. Not saying they're playing soft, calling them soft. Mm-hmm. So that turns into, at 1 in the afternoon or 12:30, a feast for the rest of the day. What happened between those 1 and 5 teams in Europe? Yeah, not much, except the head coach said his team was soft. I've never heard that before. I've never really heard that before from a first-year head coach. Wow, that's worth diving into. So, again, unforced errors. And to me, when you are going to turn the gun on your locker room in that fashion, what are you doing to help them out? And when I watch a defense get run on 18 consecutive times, the way DeMarcus Covington's was, and they don't really do anything to say, you know what, I don't care how many people we have to put in the box, you're not doing that to us anymore. If we have to put the entire franchise in there, we're doing it. Not doing that just dangles them out to dry. So I do think that it's certainly, with this new culture coming in, the links to the McCourty, Slater, Andrews group have been severed to a degree because of the injuries to Bentley, Andrews. They're diminished on the field. They're diminished in leadership. And I just don't think that turning the fire hose on the locker room and saying, you guys stink, which is basically what happened, is the way to go.
I could see, Robert Kraft blaming Bill Belichick for the state of the team, in the offseason, hence why they got rid of him. And then maybe at 1-2, 1-3, be like, they kind of left us in a bad spot. But 1-5, 1-6, non-competitive games, sprinkle in some off-field stuff as well. At what point does Kraft start to look at his handpicked guy in Gerard Mayo and say, what are you doing here?
Oh, I would think now.
Yeah.
Have to do it now. Not to the point where you're saying, okay, if you continue this way, we're going to have to move on from you. Because I think they all acknowledged, Mayo included, definitely Kraft, look, this is going to be a year with some bumps and fits and starts. I don't think in their wildest dreams did they play out and gameplay worst-case scenario. But this is playing out as worst-case scenario. You start the season with a win that inspires some confidence, but then you start to get injuries to your most key players. You have an off-field issue with one of your best players in Jabril Peppers that makes you have to put your foot down in that regard. You had to trade one of your most charismatic and really productive players in Matthew Judon. Your best defensive player in the front is gone in Christian Barmore. Your best leader in the mid-range is gone. So all these things have now played out. And I just don't think that with a first-year head coach, first-year coordinator on the defensive side, that they ever game played that it was going to be this bad. So Mayo needs help. There's absolutely no question that he needs better guidance on his messaging and which way to go, because the futility of it and the exasperation, I guess, that is evident, you can't allow that to seep in. Bill Belichick is not wrong. Bill Belichick is certainly power washing his last few years here, but he's not wrong. You can't call the team soft.
Okay, so I was just going to ask you about Bill, and I was going to say maybe some of the advice that Mayo needs he's getting from afar and directly from Bill. You just said he's power washing his history here in New England, which I agree with. What did you think of Bill's response yesterday on the McAfee show? He did it again with Jim Gray. I'm sure he'll keep doing it on Underdog and everywhere else this week. What did you think of the response?
he's not wrong. He's entitled to do that. He's in the media and he's analyzing. And people had their panties bunched because he didn't give them any credit week one when they beat Cincinnati. And he's pulled his punches. But look, he's not. He has the right to say what he's saying. Is there a element of a 70-year-old child here trying to slant the conversation when he talks about the defense being the number one run defense and ignores the fact that Christian Barmore and Juwan Bentley and Jabril Peppers aren't playing? Absolutely. But Bill was never one to really take ownership of the realities of things. For instance, you got a guy like Matt Patricia riding sidecar with him at all times, talking about what a tremendous defensive coordinator he is. They got gashed by Blaine freaking Gabbert. No, Blake Bortles. Blake Bortles.
Bortles. Yeah,
Blake
same
Bortles.
thing. Yeah.
And then they got carved up by Nick Foles.
Not great.
And Patricia goes out to Detroit and demolishes that franchise after Jim Caldwell. And now these guys are Hosanna, and Bill's crediting Matt Patricia for rebuilding the Lions. Bill's sitting there, Mike Lombardi absolutely eviscerated Mayo and diminishes exactly what was going on. So Bill missed on some fourth-round picks. He didn't miss on some fourth-round picks. He missed on everybody.
First-rounders, all the first-rounders.
The question is, were the Patriots correct in deciding that they didn't want Bill in charge of another rebuild and suspend all the money that they had? I would say that they were. They gave him a shot. It didn't work out. He's 72. But pretending that it was, just needed a few more minutes here to get it right is cuckoo.
Yeah.
All that said, he's not wrong.
Right. No, I know. It's one of those sides where, the more each side talks, the more I kind of disagree. Even though Bill's bringing up some good points, he is clearly ignoring some other things that would work against him. But I'm curious. It's a guessing game right now, and it's through 7 weeks of this season. But do you think Bill is a head coach next year? Only one team even interviewed him last year. I would think his roster construction and maybe even the guys you alluded to, bringing in Matt Patricia or all the different cronies of his to a new place also might have prevented him from taking a job. But as of right now, do you think he's a head coach next season?
It depends how willing the owners are that are out there are willing to put up with basically a friendly invasion and takeover.
Yeah, right.
He's bringing the whole underdog crew, Tom?
The mutiny.
Are they going to just drop the drawbridge and say, come in and fix us?
Yep.
Because that's what it's going to be necessitated by, or it's going to have to happen that way. I wonder also how much I think that Bill nationally is doing himself a good job with his Q rating and putting a buff and shine on his legacy. But I wonder if the longer he talks, the more that tapers off. So I just think the more exposure he gets, and this is something Mike Florio contends, the more you see, does he really believe what he's saying here, or is he just out there settling scores? But he is. He's a brilliant coach. Mm-hmm. I just don't know who wants to bring in a 72-year-old guy who's going to absolutely need everything his way, and his recent record when he did have things his way were beyond disastrous.
Tommy Curran, NBC Sports Boston on a Tommy Tuesday here on Jones and Keefe on WEEI. It's time now for Tom's Flex of the Game, presented by FlexCar. You can ditch the dealership and save thousands with FlexCar. What's your Flex of the Game from Patriots and Jags in London, Tom?
Let's give a Flex of the Game to Drake Maye. After the incompletion to Kendrick Bourne, hit his hands, probably could have been caught, a conversion. The Patriots could have continued trundling downfield and scored a touchdown for a 14-0 lead. But after that incompletion, in a non-demonstrative fashion, in a sincere way, you saw Drake Maye pat his chest twice and say, "That's on me." And I look at that, and I look at his post-game demeanor, and I look at the fact that he is not an emo quarterback, and say, thank God they have this country kid with four brothers and people who played sports all the way through in charge of this team, because he is the best case scenario in terms of makeup for the chaos descending around him.
I agree. He is maybe the lone bright spot. Game question for you. What was your opinion on them going for two when they did in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, no problem with it, just because I like to see the information be delivered earlier as well. I understand it. I'm perplexed at how so many people could say, what are they doing? You get what they're doing. You might not agree with it, but you get what they're doing. I don't know if I would have necessarily done that, but you have to get the information earlier rather than later, in my estimation. What, you guys think it was heinous?
We disagree.
I didn't love it.
And I get your point, and I get a lot of people, like the stat people would say that. I think it is like a momentum thing. I think that drive after being down where you were, and now you're like, hey, it's one possession. If we get the ball back, no matter what, we have a chance to tie it. I think that means more than the, I'm sure the mathematicians would tell you want to go for it early, et cetera, but I would have kicked it.
Yeah, I mean, they did need a glimmer of hope at that point, and it was delivered with the touchdown. So maybe the extra point would have just, okay, all right, here we go.
Yes.
But it can go either way. I was surprised. My boss texted me, what the hell are they doing? And I'm like,
I get it. Right. Yeah, that's a fun back and forth.
So,
Another question I have for you is Kendrick Bourne, after the game, talked to Andrew Callahan, and he referenced, nobody specific, but he referenced that guys were maybe staying up too late and eating weird stuff. He didn't say weird, but he said like maybe they need to watch what they're eating. And then we asked Christian Gonzalez about it yesterday, and he gave us like a non-answer, and then he said next question, which he's never done with us before. So have you heard anything on what happened over there? We know Pop Douglas was sick during the game, but it was very weird detail that Bourne had about what guys were eating in London.
Yeah, Skittles. It's all Skittles. These kids love their Skittles, and they are up to their eyeball. I have
Taste
no
the
idea
rainbow.
what they're talking about.
It's
but
strange.
again, this is another good point of, okay, Mayo wants to empower guys to speak, but even veteran guys like Devon Godshaw has now so far gone out and said they're selfish, and now he's gone out and said last week that they quit, both on your station. Now we have Bourne talking about diet and guys staying up all night. If that's happening, fine, but I would think that for the benefit of the workplace, suss that thing out first instead of posting it on Facebook. In essence, I'm saying posting it on Facebook. In essence, that would be what you would be doing if you went home tonight and had a problem at the office and threw it up on Facebook and said, "What is going on with Keith?"
Yeah.
It's basically what KJ Osborne did on his Instagram story.
Right,
So
exactly.
there is a lot of that going on. So before we let you go, Tom, we
This
talk
is a
about
good long call. I like it.
Oh yes. No, it is, and thank you for giving us some extra time here. But there's a lot of criticism of Alex Van Pelt and his play calling. I personally had less of an issue with it in this game than the week prior against Houston. But is he going to survive the year as play caller?
Yes, I think he will, because Maye's ascendancy from the time that he was drafted, when he was seen as a full-on project by the team as well, and his condition at minicamp when he showed up, to now is pretty jaw-dropping. And I think Van Pelt has to share largely in that. And I think that Van Pelt is incrementally embracing that, all right, well, the ghost, give up the ghost. Let's just play this the way the Patriots would in 1993 with Drew Bledsoe and open it up. Actually, 94 they opened it up more, but just embrace what the guy brings. He's your best player.
Okay, you can check out the latest from Tommy Curran. It's up now at NBC Sports Boston. You made that specific point. Like, why don't you open it up and just see what you have with the kid? His latest, his issues pile up. Patriots are starting to run out of excuses. Check that out there. Yes?
You got to go, but here's the thing. They're not going to win 20-17. They can't stop anybody. They got to get to 30. However you do it, I don't care if that means going on for get to 30 points. I don't care if you lose 50-30. Get there.
Okay. 16 against Jacksonville is a tough place to start, but
I
think you're right. I agree with it.
Not stopping anybody. It's true.
They got 16 against Jacksonville. I don't know that I feel great about getting to 30, but I agree. Opening it up is 100% the way to do it. Check out Tom on Quick Slants. You can hear him Thursdays on WEEI afternoons, and of course on Tommy Tuesdays.
Glenn
Jones and Keith.
Glenn Woodway joins me on Quick Slants tonight.
Oh,
is that right?
Oh,
wow.
What a thrill.
Zoom? He's
Love
zooming
that.
in.
He's zooming in from Arizona.
Zooming in. Well, check that out tonight. The Big O on with Curran. Good stuff. All right, Tom.